Hello to all my ghouls, gays, and theys. My name is EJ Marino, and we have a new Dragula review. I'm going to be jumping into Season 4, Episode 6, Hairy Monsters. This is going to be no shock to anyone, especially how I felt about the last two drama-filled episodes, but I really enjoyed this one. It was a bit more chill, was a bit more happy. What I like about my Dragula is something kind of Dolly brings up. There is a thing about monsters here looking really scary, looking really aggressive, but being really nice. I always go back to that Sharon Needles thing. I look spooky, but I'm really nice. That's what I want from my Dragula monsters. You could be the most terrifying creature on Earth, but I want you to have a good soul, some good energy. And that's what I felt from this episode. But besides the drama stuff, I actually thought this was structured a lot better. The floor show, I was able to watch every outfit and really get into it. I thought this was handled really well. I thought the Boulets were their typical amazing stuff. They seemed to be in a mood wearing those big ass wigs. Overall, I just thought this was a pretty entertaining, straightforward episode with a good challenge, with some good moments with our monsters. So the intro of this episode was pretty interesting because we have all of our remaining monsters getting back into the cauldron. Dolly definitely was not happy with how things went down last week. I definitely agree with him. I thought it was a bit of a challenging episode to get through. It didn't make people look great. It was an overall kind of excessive episode, and they kind of apologized to some of the people involved. I thought that was very mature. As they're coming in, we're starting to figure out that Bitter Betty has gone home. Hoso also comes in, and Hoso and stuff, they're all like, look, we survived that. That challenge was kind of hard. I also thought my favorite moment here was, okay, at first they were all like apologizing to other people, and I'm like, but no one's gonna say sorry to Sigourney for like not giving her challenge moment, not giving her time to shine. And yeah, they do. And they actually say, I'm sorry. Zavaleta has a very good and mature apology. I think this is my favorite I've seen of Zavaleta, of like, I understand you're fiery. You have all this passion. You are very opinionated. That is all cool, but it's how you come about it. It's how you attack people. It's how you approach these situations. And Zavaleta realized that, said, ooh, I don't know how I don't like how it's being portrayed, so let's kind of fix this, and apologize to Sigourney. They all give Sigourney their time to being like, hey, our bad, we are sorry for how it went down. And I'm not saying Zavaleta was wrong, because the Boulets do point out some stuff later on, but it's how you approach it. It's how you stab people with these comments. That's all I want to see, is a more happier stuff. I thought this intro was great. Then there is some stuff going on with Jade as well. Jade is just not into the competition. Something very tragic happened to her, so I was just like, I get it. This was a very drama-filled intro, but it was a different kind of drama. It was a lot more of emotional stuff. It was a lot more tension, so I did enjoy those moments. That intro was very strong. So then we get into the challenge, and we start seeing them create, and they create some very ghoulishly awesome looks. One of my favorite moments from this episode is when Dolly and Saint had their moment of just smoking in the back and just talking. Dolly and Saint have very interesting backgrounds coming into this season because they were both featured on different seasons, and how they approach it, how they're feeling. Saint is just kind of like, look, I'm just lost. Like I said last week, Saint is almost there. There's that extra 10 or 15% that needs to get boosted. That does happen this week. I love Saint's look. So yeah, I like this moment. I think Dolly, they are just such a warm energy. If I can see like a winner for this show, I would love it to be Dolly. I think Dolly is a great monster in the terms of look, fashion, and the oddity side, but also a good human that has a lot of positive stuff, a lot of good things to offer, and he's also the most gorgeous human being I've seen in a while. I think Dolly, they are just such a pretty human being. Yeah, I like this moment. I thought this was really good. We get more of the Jade stuff. We find out her cat passed away, and I'm just like, oh, that sucks. Like, to be away from a competition, at a competition, and that happens, I couldn't imagine. I felt for Jade, but Jade actually really didn't let it stop them through the whole challenge. I thought Jade looked so good in that challenge, really pushed through it, and had a good energy. It just seems like all of them were really pushing forward in a good, positive vibe. Then we see our judges this week. We get Landon and Bonnie Aarons, I believe that's her name. She's the one who's played like the nun in the Nun movies. She was in, oh my god, Mulholland Drive as the crazy person behind the dumpster. Yeah, I think she is great. Good judging. Landon looked so hot. Oh my god. Yo, Landon is cute. The Boulets had this big old hair. And now we get to see our Hairy Monsters challenge. First up, we have Saint, who's doing this really interesting fawn look. I was getting Mr. Thomas vibes from the Chronicles of Narnia. I really, really like the look. The hooves were interesting. It was somehow a little bit Dungeons and Dragons, a little bit 80s. I thought it was such a polished, cute, oh my goodness, look, I absolutely thought this was a strong, the wig, the hooves, the hair, it was a bit different from everyone else as well, which I thought was so interesting, so striking. I loved this fawn, satyr kind of look. I thought this was exactly what I wanted to see from Saint. Now we go to Dolly, who I liked Dolly's troll warrior look. It was terrifying. It was creepy, very much in character. I thought like Dolly really sold what they needed to sell on the runway. This wasn't my favorite look. And it's nothing against Dolly's drag style or anything. Just out of the grand scheme of things, this look was just okay for me. I thought other people were a bit stronger. I thought Dolly has performed stronger in other days. I will say the same thing about Sigourney. Sigourney was giving me like werewolf baddie, and I'm like, she looks good, but it's samey. It's not that elevatedness. And still, she could have had her same silhouette. I wasn't even saying that for me personally. I thought the silhouette was fine, as it always is. It just wasn't as hairy as I expected. I wanted werewolf baddie. I wanted this girl to look scary and sexy and meow, but I didn't really get that from this look. It was just an okay look for me. It wasn't the worst. Dolly and Sigourney are definitely my top two for this whole season, but this was a pretty meh week for them, and that's still, as strong as they're doing, meh isn't always bad, but this is the time to start getting some of those challenge wins, which is what Hoso does with this like Mothra insectoid weird ass look. Oh my, this was art. This was so interesting, so weird and scary, but creepy and cute, and I don't know, this had a little bit of everything working for them. I was very, very, very impressed with this look. I thought this was one of the strongest I've seen all season. Then we have Jade coming out in a very enchantress kind of look. It was tribal. It was good. I thought this was one of the most elevated, the most scary I've seen Jade all season. I was happy. You could just tell Jade in the floor performance and in the judging just wasn't there, which again is completely justified and understandable. I get being in that headspace. It's a bit hard. I thought this was a good look though. If you're going to go out on a look, this was one to go with. Then you have Zavaleta, who just does a cat suit. I thought Zavaleta's paint was gorgeous and sexy and good. Then I got to the bodysuit. I just wasn't in love with it. I just thought this was an okay look. I definitely really saw Zavaleta's makeup artistry with this week, though. I loved the cat face. It was hot. It was creepy. It was sexy. It was all I needed from it. As soon as I got to the neck down, I was just like, I felt like Michelle Visage. I was like, it's like a piece of furry fabric. Like, I wanted a bit more from the outfit, but that's really about it. This overall was a very strong floor show. I liked a lot of these looks and really thought they really brought it with this fun, hairy challenge. Like I said throughout the floor show stuff, the judging seems to be about the same. The only real interesting note that they have here is they are kind of tired of Sigourney's look, which isn't shocking. Zavaleta definitely has a moment of being like, told you so. We also find out that Hoso is a bit of a diva behind the scenes, of really demanding this kind of attention or this help to get into these elaborate outfits, which is very interesting because I think in the real world, you would probably have one or two people helping you in these kind of things, especially with these kind of looks. You usually have your assistants or your friends helping put this together, but it's a challenge where you're seeing each and every one of these people doing it on their own. Come on, like, I need you to elevate that a bit more. I need you to be a bit better at that, but that comes with time. Hoso seems super young, so I can definitely see that they're going to grow in their fashion, and they're being able to, apply this on their own. That's kind of interesting. They are also pretty fair with Jade of being like, we can't really give Jade a pass this week, because that's not fair, and I thought that was a very mature way of being like, we feel for you, we see you, we're not going to really change judging for you, because that's not fair to all the other monsters. This was a very good judging, a very good challenge. Overall, I really liked this episode. I thought this was exactly what I wanted. I thought, like I said, the judging was fair. Everyone got pretty even critiques. You could definitely tell who was in the bottom. Sigourney and Jade definitely got some of the weaker critiques. I would have maybe put Zavaleta in the bottom as well. I definitely think Jade was always going to go this challenge, especially in that Extermination. But I wasn't a fan of Zavaleta's look, but Sigourney and Jade definitely earned their spots in the bottom, and they have a very interesting challenge. Hoso wins the episode, and Hoso deserved it. I definitely like this creaturey look, thought it was very striking, so then they send Sigourney and Jade to the Extermination, where they have cockroaches just falling all over them. This was gross, but I definitely think I could have survived this challenge. I will say, though, about Jade's look with those, with that hair, it was very, like, messy and kind of matted, and it was a little bit locked and stuff like that, and I could be like, the bugs getting stuck in that, where like Sigourney's wig was so like sleek, where you can kind of tell they were getting stuck, but a lot of them were falling off. I thought this was interesting of how these two handled it. I was kind of nervous though. This was one, I love Sigourney. I thought she was going home during this extermination. They had me with that edit. It was very good, very striking. Overall, though, Jade does go home. Kind of sad to see Jade go, but Jade just wasn't it. It just wasn't at that level I needed. And then with the passing of her cat, I just felt it. This was not Jade's time, but who knows? You definitely impressed me throughout it. I can definitely see myself being a Jade fan going forward from this. Strong episode, just sad to see her go in that kind of circumstance. That is it for my review of this week's Dragula. I had a damn good time watching it and had a good time talking about it with you all. What did you think of this episode? What do you think of this review? Let me know your feelings down in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel because I make videos like this every single week. We have some crazy challenges coming up with a whole horror film being made with our monsters. Cannot wait for that next week, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Give me a thumbs up because YouTube takes those way too seriously. Alright everyone, let's talk about Dragula down below.